Today, a Russian court denied Brittany Griner's fervent last-minute appeal for leniency. She now faces 8 more years in jail for bringing a vape cartridge to Moscow. She said it was prescribed for medicinal purposes. The WNBA superstar made her appeal on video. She was seen in court from behind bars on a TV screen from the detention center where she's been held since February. Griner apologizing for what she called the mistake she made and pleading for clemency.
I really hope that the court will adjust this sentence because it's been very, very stressful and very traumatic to my mental and psyche, being away from my family and not being able to communicate.
Joining me now is Dawn Staley, Brittany Griner's former Olympic coach and friend, of course, to both Brittany and her wife, Cherelle. Dawn is currently the head women's basketball coach for the South Carolina Gamecocks. Also joining us, the founder and president of the National Action Network, my colleague, Reverend Al Sharpton, the host of Politics Nation here on MSNBC. Reverend Al has been helping Griner's wife and family push for her release. Dawn, first to you, your reaction to this court decision today on her appeal.
Everyone in Brittany's camp prepared us all that the chances of her sentence being reduced or her being released were slim to none. So it's no surprise. So I do think we just need to continue to do what we've been doing. Just keep praying, just keep praying. I mean, and hopefully, God comes through because I'm a firm believer in on your worst days, he does his best work, and we need his best work right now.
You saw her, at least as much as we could tell, from behind bars. Just incredible. How did she look to you? We heard from, Cherelle reporting last week and from her lawyers, with whom I spoke yesterday, that when they spoke to her and saw her on her birthday last week when she was 32, she's strong, but this is obviously a huge blow to her now.
I mean, you see some hopelessness. You hear the hopelessness in her voice. You hear her trying to be strong, probably trying to be strong for her wife Cherelle and her family. But when you're locked up, not just abroad, but when you're locked up in Russia, there are levels. This is the highest level of, to me, captivity. I'm just hoping, and I know our president, our best president, Secretary Blinken, I know everybody's doing everything in their power. I pray that the Russians open up their hearts to see Brittany as a person that that made a mistake, an honest mistake, and I just don't think one should pay 9 years of their life for that type of mistake. And, I do think there's more to it than just, more to it than what she's been sentenced for. I mean, she is a political pawn, and we must do something for Brittany and her family and the rest of our prisoners who are wrongly detained in other countries.
Reverend Al, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan today releasing a statement reading in part, "We're aware of the news out of Russia that Brittany Griner will continue to be wrongfully detained under intolerable circumstances after having to undergo another sham judicial proceeding. Today, President Biden has been very clear Brittany should be released immediately." So now there's a decision. Do you think that, at least now that the appeal is over, the process is over legally, do you think the talks will move? We hear, Reverend Al, that there were some recent talks, finally, after months of nothing. Now, do you think the Russians may get serious?
Well, it is certainly our hope that the talks will get serious. In conversations that we've had with the State Department, and once or twice I've raised it with the president when he met with civil rights leaders, they are totally committed. The president and everyone has said they will do whatever they can. He's had Sherelle and the families of others that have been detained abroad to the White House. I think that the real question is that Russia's got to deal with the crime does not meet the time. We're talking about, even by Russian standards, she's been given a absolutely disproportionate amount of time. And you're talking about someone who came and played basketball for a Russian team. Some of her team members came to court for her. So she's not trying to take a position against Russia or against policy or get involved in the politics. She has been one to serve Russia, and that ought to really say something to the Russian authorities as they negotiate with the U.S. authorities. We're very concerned about her mental and spiritual being there to sit there 8 more years for a simple mistake, something that they've been able to show what the doctors had said she was doing because of her pain and dealing with athletic condition. So this is not one where we want to name call or rally against anybody. This is where we're saying that the crime doesn't meet the time, and this is somebody that, against all wishes of some, went and played and stood by your country. And we would expect that Russia would reciprocate with some level of justice and mercy for somebody that worked with Russian young people who want to be African.
Reverend Al, thank you so much. Dawn Staley, thank you as well for your time today.